All right, so we got the Saiyan Society
Yeah.
back again without their weakest link.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
fuck.
I'm just kidding. We got our main spokesman isn't here, so I gotta do the intro for us today.
He said weakest link.
We got myself, Jugad, and we got Jasmine over here.
Yep.
So Shonen Jump's on, I think, on break
Yeah, it's on.
right
It's
now.
on break.
So we were gonna do a little bit of a weekly with the Bleach anime, Chainsaw Man anime, the manga, and then One Piece manga. But honestly, we're gonna shelve it for next week.
Yeah. We'll
We
do a filler, a classic filler episode.
Yeah, so we figured, let's talk about the DCEU and,
a lot that happened recently. A lot.
yeah, so we'll do a little timeline of, like, for people that don't really know where it started from and what happened.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about where it's going in the future.
Yeah.
Whether we
For sure.
agree with it and whatnot.
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we can go off the start immediately. The first installation into the DCEU was The Man of Steel, starring Henry Cavill, and
My boy Zack Snyder with the director, as director,
yeah. And then following, instead of hearing of a sequel, well, I guess maybe you can consider it a sequel, but it wasn't a proper sequel. We had Batman v Superman, The Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, so that wasn't. There's a couple things about it. One was, Man of Steel did really good in the box office, and then they wanted to set up almost like a trilogy or something that like started the Justice League and like to catch up with Marvel. So then they did Batman versus Superman, and they figured, okay, like we've had the Batman story like retold like a bunch of times, we don't need it again, so just do Batman versus Superman. And then they trimmed it up, cut it up a little bit, took off 30 minutes off the runtime, and then that did shit. To people, like they essentially did shit in the theatrical release, but I think at the time it said that they had the highest grossing movie for a March release.
Yeah, it had a very strong opening.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You had Batman and Superman on screen, and they were gonna clash.
Yeah, so like it did good numbers, but audience score wise, like people were shitting on it. Because obviously people are gonna still watch it because it's Batman versus Superman.
So the caveat of the whole situation of those two movies is, Man of Steel did okay in the box office. It didn't do the best.
Yeah.
And then Batman
But
v Superman did
well
even
received,
worse.
though. Man of Steel was well received.
It was a little bit more well received. It wasn't the best like that it could have been.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, we know it wasn't received well at all.
Yeah.
There was a lot of issues that people had with the characterizations and whatnot, and the story that was decided to be told. We also know that even though it had one of the biggest openings, it was also
one of the biggest drop-offs.
It was one of the biggest drop-offs, and it wasn't a financial success that Warner Brothers was looking for.
Yeah. And then
following that, we had the release of,
I guess you could say they had Wonder Woman come out before Justice League, right? The same year. It was the same year.
I think it was after Justice League, no?
No, because Wonder Woman released in July, and Justice League released like that
after?
November.
Okay.
Because they had to delay it, right?
Sure.
But so Wonder Woman released, that was pretty good.
That was good.
At least until the third act, the final act.
It gave people a lot more hope that
where it was going.
The DCEU can be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we had Justice League.
Yeah, and I get if you guys don't know about it, Snyder was the director, and then daughter committed suicide. He obviously needed time to grieve.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Was like, screw that, we're getting another director. They had Joss Whedon come in.
Yeah.
He kind of fucked around with it and changed like 70% of the movie, and it kind of obviously is like probably the shittiest superhero movie ever at the time. At the time, because we're going in order. 2017. Because it was like a mix of two different director styles.
Yeah,
and they didn't go well together because it was two
not
totally different things.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously that wasn't received well, and then
at all.
Then you have
that was the biggest. That was not a financial success in any way. They didn't make nothing off of that movie.
It was so bad.
And then also like the fans
you could say
and
that's
critics.
Where, like, the Snyder bots like really started.
Yeah, you could say that maybe that's when I guess maybe that's when like the forces got together. But it was probably building.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, you kind of understood that like there's a like he's going somewhere with this, and then Justice League kind of just shot the bed,
For sure.
right?
And then
And they were kind of like, okay, like we know that they switched the director. We don't know how much of the film changed, and then and obviously like the petitions and everything, right?
yeah, and then
we had Aquaman release
Aquaman came
in
out,
2018.
and that was
Phenomenal
it was a
for DCEU at least.
yeah, it was highly rated. It did $1 billion
received.
plus in the box office. It was like if Wonder Woman gave hope, Aquaman
propelled
like
yeah,
it was
because they did the Throne of Atlantis storyline,
yeah,
and then the CGI was wonderful,
yeah,
and it was
visually amazing.
we're used to getting
James Wan did fantastic with
and we're used to getting Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Wonder Woman were like a darker tone, and this was like much more vibrant.
It was a lot vibrant,
right?
Yeah,
like that, and it was crazy, and like they even had like the more lightheartedness in like the jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, this is kind of like, I guess people were saying, oh, it's kind of like a Marvel template that they're starting to like kind of get into.
Sure.
Just at least in like the lightheartedness, right?
Sure.
And then after Aquaman, what was it? Was it Suicide Squad?
No, Suicide Squad came out.
Was that also 2017?
That was also around that time.
Okay.
We skipped past it because it was just that bad.
Because it's just that bad. So the first Suicide Squad was borderline just as bad as that theatrical release of Justice League.
Yeah.
So both of them kind of just ruined it for Warner Bros. Because it's like, okay, we need to come out with a success that's gonna, make the money that we lost on these projects essentially.
Because at the end of the day, they're a studio. They need money, right? They need money to fund these things.
Aquaman was that success. I
guess.
Was.
It was.
And then, you know what? It was Shazam that came out.
It was Shazam that came out, and Shazam was even more hope. It was like, oh shit, like we can do this low budget film, and make money off of it, and it be well received.
Yeah, and because they had that family friendly like jokes and stuff, and like more of a like Marvel vibe.
Yeah.
And I guess like depending on the type of fan you are, like if you want the Marvel stuff, you're like, okay, let's go. At least like there's some direction to it.
Yeah.
But then if you want like the nitty gritty stuff, you're kind of like, man, like whatever. But with Shazam's character and everything, like the movie felt really good.
It felt proper.
My only problems with that movie was the villain, to be honest. With
Same.
And I think that was the same thing with Wonder Woman too. It was just the final like climax with Ares. That was my problem.
Yeah, but I still feel like it was like
it was otherwise it was really it
was good enough to where it's whatever.
Yeah. And after Shazam, we didn't have something for a while.
After Shazam, because
that was 2019, and then Justice League Snyder Cut came out in 2020, I think.
Yeah. That
was 2020.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of crazy because we're getting these years of
here's where it gets. I think in 2019 we also had Joker, but that's not DCU.
That's not DCU.
It's not DCU, but it goes into what has happened in with Warner Brothers and everything.
That's
right.
Fair.
So we'll just mention it. A Joker movie came out.
Phenomenal.
It was a great story. It was a character study. It was.
It changes the way that comic books could be.
The stories
adapted.
can be told.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it did amazing for Warner Brothers. It was it was a low budget movie that ended up making them a lot of money. Dude, they made $1 billion, right? And then we
had multiple discussions about it where like I would love to have more movies like this.
Yeah.
For comic book characters where like it feels like it's the real world.
Yeah.
And they're even if it's for a hero or whatever, like it just because it makes it more personable. It's not just like a general template that they're throwing across every superhero
movie,
or whatever, right?
And then we get the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League,
and I think that's where
the 4-hour movie.
Like HBO came out and they were like, you know what, we'll fund him for this.
Yeah.
And I think they were like, that's when people realized like, okay, like Snyder was like, oh, they changed 70% of the film. So you're sitting there like, okay, there's only 30% of this film that's actually his stuff. Snyder Cut's 4 hours, where original was like 2 hours, 20 minutes, 18 minutes, right? So it's like half of it's gone, but like only 30% of the material is actually Snyder's.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, I'm the fanboy, so I'm looking at the comparisons, right? And you can see how, like, not only did Joss Whedon like redirect like the same scene just in different
They did
ways.
reshoots, yeah.
Like reshoots, yeah. Like he literally like, and it's crazy how much it changed the tone of the movie too, because like people talk about how like he's like so misogynistic and whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
and like you're seeing like a shot of what Snyder had where it's like, I think it was Wonder Woman getting up off the ground or whatever, and like Snyder's shot, it's like normal. His shot, it's like, okay, why did you have to go from like a lower shot where like you can kind of like see her like legs and ass and whatever, like in a way, right? So like, and like there was multiple times where like they did that with like, I think it was Flash when he like trips and he falls on like Wonder Woman's
like
chest,
on her, yeah,
right? Like moments like that where you're like it just didn't like, you didn't receive it as well because the way Joss Whedon changed it, and then when Snyder did his stuff, you're like, okay, like this is actually nice. And then obviously there's a budgeting problem with Snyder Cut, so their CGI was lacking for like segments of the movie. I guess like the first little bit of the movie, because it feels like they put all that budget into Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and let's talk about Steppenwolf for a second. The difference.
Oh yeah.
In the theatrical release versus Snyder Cut. Holy shit,
it's
dude.
It's way different.
Holy crap! They actually like I know 4 hours is long, but they spent that time actually building up Cyborg.
Yeah,
Flash
Cyborg's
actually,
Flash his whole character mattered. Arc was a thing.
Yeah, like Flash actually mattered, and then even Steppenwolf, like you actually cared.
He mattered
for him.
So much. You have a figure of.
Yeah, because before it was just man, get away from me. Get away from me.
Motherfucker said, yeah.
Yo, you gotta be hyped for a second. No, but I mean like, and even like that that whole triumphant ending, where you think they actually did lose, world's getting wiped.
Yeah.
And then you have him go back in time. And it's such an epic moment, right? Like, like it's just crazy.
Yeah, Oscar winning.
Yeah, Oscar winning. All those bots.
Half of them were you.
No, they're not, man. I wish. No, I'm not. But like, you know, it was kind of just like, yo, you saw Snyder's version of it?
Yeah.
And he made sure not to include extra stuff from like the years that he kind of, you know, sat with the project. Except for the ending nightmare sequence with Joker, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, you're like, hey, this shit looks like. I'm kind of excited to see where he goes. Like, if they're able to give him 2 more movies, because he was trying to make a 5-film, like thing. What is it? Series. Right. So I mean, obviously he never got his chance and whatever.
Yeah, and then we had the Suicide Squad come out.
James Gunn, and that shit was crazy. It, like, dude, it was Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, but still kept it like DC and like raw.
Yeah.
And what is it? Was it rated R?
Or maybe it's like remember, but it was probably
it was hella gory.
It was for sure close.
Yeah,
if it wasn't.
Yeah, it was really nice. I really liked the way they did it.
And then we had, there was a lot of news that like around, I'd say even earlier. There's a lot of news. Is Ben Affleck gonna be Batman? Is he not gonna be Batman?
And Henry Cavill.
Is he gonna stay?
Because he started getting the role for The Witcher.
The Witcher came.
He did obviously we know he did the Mission Impossible stuff like earlier.
But then with particularly with Ben Affleck, there was supposed to be a movie which then he was gonna direct, and then Matt Reeves came out. Yeah. And he was gonna direct. Then Ben Affleck stepped away because he didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And then Matt Reeves went and hired Robert Pattinson as Batman. Yep. Then we had the Batman come out in 2022.
Crazy success. Amazing story.
Again, it was such a high success for Warner Brothers, where when they did their Warner Discovery merger, they named Matt Reeves as an important
figure
going forward that they'd want to continue to work with. Yeah. And his sequel was greenlit basically immediately.
Yeah. And now we're getting we're essentially getting a trilogy.
He has a TV project coming out as well with the Penguin.
Like the work he put in was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. And then
it's so like
it goes into the same thing with what happened with Joker.
Yeah. That's what I was going to bring up. Like Joker and the Batman were both phenomenal different movies for superheroes. Yeah. And they did so well. Like they outclassed so many other superhero projects. Yeah. Right. And this is Warner Bros. We're talking about. Which, for years, like from 2013 when Man of Steel came out to now, has only been putting out like maybe one project a year, maybe 2 projects a year, and then I guess 2019 they had 2 projects, right?
And
maybe 3.
But the issue with that came out in 2022 was the fact that they didn't actually have enough money to put out the movie, so they had to delay them.
Yeah, we've been through multiple delays. I think
of course they were gonna put out the Batman. Of course they were gonna put out Black Adam because
the Rock.
The Rock.
Powerhouse,
exactly.
But you know what's crazy? Because the Flash was their original slate was it needs to come out 2018. I think it was supposed to be April 2018 when they originally started had this shown. I think it was during Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later, still not here, and then they're releasing it in 2023, January, March-ish.
So then the Black Adam comes out. The Black Adam movie comes out.
Yeah. So.
And that tanked.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Critical success, it tanked. Audience success, I guess people liked it.
People did like it. People did enjoy it.
But people didn't go watch it then, because it didn't do good. It didn't make a little money at all in the box office.
Yeah. I mean, we have a review up. You guys can watch it. You'll know what we liked, what we didn't like, stuff like that.
And then,
but before we get into what's happening next, earlier, with Warner Bros. Discovery, we had David Zaslav and everyone come in, and they talked about the way, the future of the DCEU.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how he wants 6 projects with Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where we got Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3, Justice League 2, and then I think it was also Justice League 3, and then he wanted a holy trinity movie of Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. And then I think the last 2 were just supposed to be smaller roles, and we were thinking Shazam and Superman versus Black Adam, whenever that's gonna be.
Yeah.
And then just another cameo somewhere else.
Yeah. And then he does have a cameo in the Black Adam movie
just at the end.
In the mid-credit scene. And then there's major hope. He has a press tour. He can come out and say, "Yeah, I'm back as Superman. Hell yeah."
Yeah.
People are happy. We're excited to see what's coming in the future. It seems even before that, the DC Studios was announced.
Yeah.
DC Studios was announced. The heads of it, James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Yeah.
And
so Peter Safran's a producer / writer.
He's more of the
and then James Gunn's the director.
The background guy. James Gunn's more of the front guy, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And it was hope. We knew that James Gunn can put out good projects. We know that he can.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. What he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, he made them relevant.
Exactly.
We're excited. We just got announced that then we get into Cavill's back, and then let's get into what happened
recently
after. So first off, we said Black Adam wasn't a success. It's not confirmed, but it was a report that
and there's some
The Rock leaked falsified
information, financial information about the project.
That the project did actually make money, but
so that's kind of, it's a big thing where, first of all, because we know The Rock's a powerhouse, and we were debating it for the past few months. Okay, The Rock's or Henry Cavill's agent is The Rock's ex-wife. He's trying to body them into a contract with Warner Bros. To get Henry Cavill to come back, because we know how badly he wants this fight with Henry Cavill, and we know that he's had the role for Black Adam for 15 years, right? Yeah. So, it's we're kind of it's gonna happen. It's kind of pointing towards it.
Yeah.
And we're hopeful, and then they do the cuts. They do the ending scene, and we're okay, he's back.
It's happening for sure.
But then James Gunn and Peter Safran talk to Henry Cavill. And
let me get into it. So first, a report comes out that more insight into the decision to reverse Henry Cavill's DC return as Superman, or according to Hollywood insiders, Cavill was a pawn in Dwayne Johnson's failed attempt to control a piece of the DCEU.
Yeah, and I was that, and that makes sense. He made it as a power play, and we were expecting that. But with somebody as big as somebody who plays Superman, and then you have The Rock playing Black Adam, you're like, okay, at least we have something going. Like, if The Rock is pushing his agenda, whatever it is, at least we have an agenda, right? Because for the longest time in the DCU, like, we didn't really have an agenda. Like, we had Snyder, he got shafted, like, whatever, his shit happened.
Yeah.
Ever since we moved from there, so ever since you would say Wonder Woman came out, they haven't had a solidified slate of like what they're trying to do with their universe.
Yeah.
And then they had like random projects here and there with Joker and the Batman, where they were like just throwing it out there because, just because, like, projects, projects, whatever.
I feel like part of the issue, like I know we've talked about it, I feel like part of the issue isn't just on the studio. I feel like part of the issue was on Zack Snyder's, and like that just goes to like the fact the characterizations that he chose, the way he chose to go about it, the way that he chose to write the characters, the way that he chose to like direct. It obviously wasn't favorable to what was the bigger goal.
But so it wasn't just that also though, because like the Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Snyder was part of it, but
sure.
They like again, Ayer kind of got this not the same treatment, but almost the same treatment where they were like they saw Deadpool come out at the same time Suicide Squad came out, and they were like, that got a shit ton of views. Change what you have written to be more like that. And again, so this is like you're changing somebody's directing style to something that's not their style, and if part of the reason why it flopped, right? Because like he had different like the biggest problem with that movie is that Amanda Waller makes the Suicide Squad, and her pursuit of making the Suicide Squad is what makes the villain at the end of the day. So if she had not come up with the Suicide Squad, the villain wouldn't even be there. Like the Enchantress, she wouldn't even be like. So it's like the movie literally never would have happened had she not. It's just whatever.
Yeah, but you can I can confidently say that it wasn't just a studio issue. I think it was also a director's issue.
Like there was other issues at play.
Like I do like the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I do like Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition.
Yep.
But I can also say that I can see problems in both of those movies. I can see why they're not successful.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see why, like, especially at the time that it came out.
Yeah.
Because I think MCU was a big reason why people started watching superhero movies and getting into it, because there's a lot of general audience that, like, they love superhero movies now, even though they didn't, like, read the comics or any of that.
Yeah.
So, like, for them, like, it made sense during the time that they wanted to change their formula to be more like Marvel, and Zack Snyder's stuff was too dark. But when you look back at it, you have stuff like The Boys and Invincible and stuff that come out that people love so much for being dark.
Yeah.
So like when you kind of go back, you can kind of appreciate what Snyder was doing. As it's just one of those things, like it was like a wrong time thing.
But it was also style choices too, right? Because The Boys' style is different than what Zack Snyder's style is, right? Yeah. So it kind of goes with that too, and it also goes with thematics too.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder always picked like very specific thematics within his movies.
Yeah.
That wouldn't what would you say? More so with like how the audience feels about those thematics.
That's true.
Like,
I guess you could say that. Like the biggest thing being like the Jesus figure for Superman.
Sure.
Right, which is like I think the biggest thing that people are like, stop trying to make Superman like Jesus.
Yeah.
Right, but then it's like, I mean, the case can be made both ways. Like whatever.
Sure. Yeah, but then Henry Cavill finally actually comes out. He has a Instagram post saying that he is no longer Superman, or returning as Superman, and then the news feed goes crazy.
Hold on.
Go for it.
So I was chopped that day.
Oh, you were.
I was actually chopped. Like,
no, you were.
And the thing is, like, cause we've been keeping up with this news like so much that like, I have faith that it's James Gunn and Peter Safran know what to do, especially with like this chaotic state of DCEU from like the past 5-6 years, like problems with Ray Fisher, with like Joss Whedon, like because I think Ben Affleck said that his worst experience working on a movie was with Joss Whedon on Justice League, and then you have Ezra Miller who's just kidnapping families and doing random crazy ass bar fights. Like I don't know, this guy's just screwed up. So they're not using him for Flash anymore after this Flash movie.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just sitting there like, what the hell is this, you know? And then there's backlash for Gal Gadot because I think she was a Israeli soldier or something.
I don't know.
It was something like I don't know. It was like, but people were hating on her for that. And then I guess Henry Cavill was like the only normal thing about the DCEU. Essentially, like with no except like he had the Witcher role.
Yeah.
right? And he's getting up in age where you're kind of like, can he really play this role for another 10 years? Because in terms of his Superman story, it's at the beginning.
It's at the beginning, essentially.
Right? He's not even Superman yet. Like, I mean, really.
Yeah, and
so
then, the news rule starts flowing. We know that from reports that J.J. Abrams' Superman film is still in active development, and they're still writing the script.
Is that the Black Superman one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of weird because they're doing 2 different Supermans now.
But you also have the Batman happening, right?
Exactly. So it's not a big deal. But from what I heard was that Black Superman is going to be Clark Kent, which is where I find it, like, weird.
But that was before James Gunn took...
before he took over, so it can still
he can change it. He'd be like, yo, just write him as
I would enjoy it if it was Kal Zod.
Yeah, he could literally just say, yo, write as Kal Zod.
Yeah, because if it's Kal Zod, then it's like, that's interesting, because I mean, he's got Superman's powers, but he's like a pacifist.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you're going to see it built differently, because you could make that movie like why he became a pacifist. Because maybe he was like a rage monster before then.
Yeah.
And then eventually he's like, nah, like, I don't fight anymore. And you're watching this throughout the whole movie.
One thing that James Gunn did note when he took over as DC Studios head, or one of the heads, was that he wanted to make sure that fans knew that Superman is his top priority.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, going back to, like, we know, like, it's James Gunn, like, he got a lot of hate because of the Henry Cavill stuff.
Yeah.
And you could say, like, it's not Henry Cavill's fault. It's not the studio's fault. It's people are blaming The Rock too, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like the reason why they pump faked us.
He like literally forced their hand into
and the thing is,
him in.
The problem there is that Black Adam was the last movie underneath the original, like, the first CEO, Walter Hamada.
Yeah.
After that movie came out is when he stepped down, right? So that's part of, like, an old agenda, because, again, in March they had already made it Warner Bros. Discovery, and Zaslav's the one taking over.
Yeah.
Right? So Hamada's, like, last little bit of anything was Black Adam.
Yeah.
Then he steps down, and that's when Zaslav goes forward with the James Gunn stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to actually make a cohesive universe. So, like, you can't really, like, it sucks not being able to see Cavill on screen. But it the way this meeting went with Cavill, like, it was no hard feelings.
Of course.
It made it seem like eventually they're gonna build up to, like, a multiverse thing. They'll have built, like, Cavill Superman will show up in this multiverse, the way I see this going down the line, and then people are gonna be, like, excited just because he's finally back on screen. And I guess like his whole character development will be off screen, where he'll be like a full-fledged Superman.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see him, like, the way the No Way Home was with Spider-Man. You had all 3 Spider-Man show up.
Yeah.
Same thing. And especially with him doing this focus on Superman, where they're having 2 different Superman movies come out, and they're 2 different distinct Superman.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it playing out into this multiverse thing.
Yeah. And people started talking. They're like, okay, if Henry Cavill's done, that means that it's confirmed that, like, James Gunn's rebooting.
Yeah.
That Jason Momoa, which before even any conversation happened, people were saying that he was going to return as Lobo.
Yeah. And immediately people were hating because they're like, dude, he's Aquaman. Like, he's so good as Aquaman.
Yeah.
But I kind of sat with it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, yo, if you've seen Jason Momoa and other stuff, and just, like, I guess you like his style. Yeah. He fits Lobo. Yeah. I could totally see him as Lobo. Yeah. So, like, when I sat with it for a bit, I was like, yo, like, I don't mind this at all. Because even Aquaman, like, yeah, I get, like, he's jacked, and they took it into, like, the more native way where he has his what is it?
The tribal tattoos.
Tribal tattoos, right? And it works, but it's like, if they were to cast somebody else for Aquaman, like, I wouldn't be hurt over it, because, like, they still have the suit. They can make it like a blonde white guy if they want to do it like Justice League Unlimited or whatever, and Young Justice, or you know, and work in that direction. So like, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all.
Gal Gadot is probably done, since her movie, her 3rd movie was shelved.
Yo, dude, we didn't even talk about Wonder Woman 84 actually, because that was 2021 Christmas. But like, that was easily like the worst movie I had seen until we saw Thor and like whatever. Yeah. But like that was actually the worst one, because it's like there was parts you could take away from Wonder Woman 84 because she looked cool, she learned new powers, and like origin, like some things were really cool. Yeah. It was just that the actual story being driven was like trash, right?
Yeah.
But it makes sense why Patty Jenkins didn't get her third movie after that second one.
Yeah.
And like I mean, Snyder bots were going crazy. Where they're like, this is what happens when you don't have Snyder's involvement.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say that like Wonder Woman, like the first one was only good because Snyder's involvement.
Okay.
But then it's like we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes.
I don't think that's a fair thing to assume.
It's not.
Because then you can say Man of Steel was only as good as it was because Christopher Nolan was
part
producer.
Of it. You could.
That just undermines everything Zack Snyder did.
It doesn't undermine it because
that's essentially what that's what those bots are saying when they say Wonder Woman was only good because of.
No, but I mean obviously the bots are fucking going to extreme.
Sure.
But I mean like Snyder did go to Nolan for advice whether the direction he was going in was right for his 5 movie series.
Mm-hmm.
And like he backed him for the whole thing. So it's kind of just like if you have Nolan backing him, you're kind of like, okay, like he's going in a good direction for one thing.
But I believe his involvement ended after BVS.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, even after BVS, like,
and if you
Snyder
consider after BVS, it kind of went to shit after.
Yeah, so like and that makes sense.
So
yeah, but with like with Wonder Woman, like the first one, like it tied into Justice League. You had little Easter eggs that were relevant to to Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wonder Woman, like 1984, it's not it's neither here or there. You know, it's just like you have a couple callbacks to the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But like that's about it. And like nothing really like going forward, I guess. And like they did say I remember reading this where it was they gave Patty Jenkins the option to rewrite it and do something different, but she was like, nah, screw that.
I think I know she did come out with a statement.
Yeah.
I think it was just an agreement that
like she didn't want to rewrite it
done or something. Like I don't know.
I remember reading like she didn't want to rewrite it because like, that makes sense because like if you put all this time to write this script out and they're like, nah, screw that, change it. She's like, I already put in all this work. Like I don't want to do this.
Yeah, and
right?
then
especially after that second one flopped, and I guess you could even say like from prior meddling with the studio with other DC movies, you could say that like if they wanted her to change her script, it might just be better for her to just opt out.
Yeah,
because you don't like that could like it could be a success, but it could also end in failure. And like past experience, we've seen failure, so like rather not have that there.
And then we also had Ben Affleck, who was supposed to return in Aquaman, and
there's some
and the
weird
Flash,
shit
I think,
happening with that.
And there was like this was before James Gunn. There was some weird hope
like September,
that potentially
August.
that we're gonna move forward. We're not gonna do Michael Keaton anymore. That they were gonna keep Ben Affleck or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they essentially have Blue Beetle and Batgirl slated movies to come out.
Yeah.
Batgirl was supposed to have Michael Keaton as her mentor, and you're kind of sitting there like, okay, how does Michael Keaton's Batman fit into this? But then Flashpoint was essentially supposed to be a way of writing out Ben Affleck and writing in Michael Keaton, which makes perfect sense. It's fine. But then David Zaslav guys scrapped all of Batgirl, said screw that project.
They vaulted that.
So essentially, like
to write off her tax because they were fucking broke.
So before Batgirl was announced, they did have Ben Affleck in the Aquaman cutscene, but then because the way the movies were coming out, Flash was supposed to come out in December this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was gonna be Aquaman, and then it was gonna be Shazam 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then they delayed the projects, so it ended up being where Flash is actually coming out, I think, after Aquaman now.
I think so.
Or at least at that time it was. And because they made like this, like the changes that they made, they basically had to redo the scenes where it's not Ben Affleck anymore, it's Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
But then they scrapped Batgirl, and so they had to switch it back and have Ben Affleck as the Batman in there.
Yeah.
But then, James Gunn came in, and now they're,
Yeah, and James Gunn did say that he had a conversation with Ben Affleck and that they want him to direct a movie in their new DCEU.
We don't know what.
We don't know what yet.
Yeah.
But going into James Gunn a little bit more back on Henry Cavill. When that report of Henry Cavill not returning, it was also reported and confirmed that James Gunn will reboot and focus on a young Clark Kent in his early days as a reporter.
Superman is Henry Cavill, bro. You can't have
relax.
I'm just kidding.
Focus on
the Snyder button we took over.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I've been telling y'all.
I'm just kidding.
A young Clark Kent in his early days as a reporter in Metropolis.
Which is, and like, again, this is understandable. Like, Henry Cavill is like 45.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be able to play a character for another decade. You know, like, he should have, like, he started Man of Steel in 2013. It's already been a decade. He should have already had more than 3 movies to his name.
Half of the fumble was the fact that BVS came out.
Yeah. But, like, again, like, he should have more than 3 movies to his name, right? In a decade? Like, that's crazy. That's nuts. And, like, for an actor to, like, reprise those roles or keep going for that long, like, we've seen a lot of actors, like, you know, stop playing, like, especially with, like, the original Avengers, right? Or even Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're like, okay, like, I'm done with this for now, because, like, they can't keep up their routine, like, with the workouts and, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, they're getting old and, like, you know, they're done with that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like, it makes sense why Henry, like, Cavill's not moving forward with it.
Yeah.
And it, like, for them to focus on a younger Clark Kent where they can actually flesh out over the course of a decade or more, and actually, like, people grow with, right?
Yeah. And then we had some false reports that James Gunn wanted. They're exploring the possibility of making Matt Reeves's Batman universe
tie-in,
the new universe, the new DC.
But they had no plans of that. Matt Reeves never said anything about that either.
That was a false report, but I just thought I'd mention it because I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, because you're sitting there like, do anything you want with the DCEU now, but, like, don't touch Matt Reeves' universe, because he's like, the Batman was so well done. Let him make his trilogy.
Yeah.
If you want to fuck with it later, fuck with it, but just don't touch his trilogy.
And then as I mentioned, Patty Jenkins released a statement. I'll put it on screen. I'm not going to read it all. I'll put it on screen so when you guys can pause it. You guys can just read it.
Do like a little summary.
Yeah, you guys can just read it. I'm not going to read it all. Then we had the report that Warner Brothers thinks The Rock's team purposefully leaked the financial sheets.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that, like, Warner Bros. Like, went on their own, or The Rock went on his own, but also they didn't back him up, and they were kind of like, they publicly was like, yeah, no, The Rock been lying about some shit. Because then right when that happened, you're sitting there like, this ain't good, because, like, The Rock's not gonna take that heat.
Yeah,
he's not down for that. And then, you know, I think a few reports later, The Rock comes out with a thing, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be a part of this anymore. I stepped down as Black Adam.
Well, he didn't really say that he stepped down, but yeah, there was some. It was weird. It was like he didn't really confirm whether he was down or not.
Because he was kind of like, you know, no. I love seeing everyone eat, you know, like, whether it's Marvel or DC.
Yeah, he was like,
because he's keeping up that, like, celebrity front or whatever.
Yeah.
And because he's like, I mean, The Rock's like a really nice guy too, like from his, like, you know, as a celebrity.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of just like he's got no hate. Like, he got to play Black Adam at least. He's happy that he did that, but, like, they're just not moving forward with his Black Adam. At least for now, which is like, you know, like, you can take it negatively if you want, but it's like, no, James Gunn is essentially like, he's taking a step back to kind of focus on these core stories, and then he's gonna intertwine these other stories later on if it fits the slate, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have The Rock come back, you can have Cavill come back, whoever he wants to bring back, he can do that later on, as long as it fits within this
the narrative that he's trying to create.
Exactly. Like, if it's Anti-Monitor or, like, Darkseid or whatever he wants to do, it's gonna work. He can bring in all these guys, even if it is for just one movie, right?
And in the midst of all this chaos, there was a Joker 2 first look dropped. In the midst of all this chaos, by the way. We're in this crazy news run of DCEU dying, DCU's new creation, James Gunn's whole reboot, and they drop a Joaquin Phoenix Joker 2 first look, just a picture of this dude getting shit cut up.
You know what's funny too? Because I'm looking at memes and stuff, and people are like, the only person safe from James Gunn like erasing the universe, and it's just Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But like,
I think Peacemaker is also
yeah,
safe.
but like, you look at it and you're like, dude, like Joker 2 news came out and they have Harley Quinn as Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, they can still step away from Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
They could.
And like, yeah. Which
And
I'm
then
like, I want to see what Joker 2 is. I kind of like, I told you my idea, right?
it's like a musical, right?
But but like my idea of why it's a musical.
No.
Cause the way I saw it was, okay, like we know from the Suicide Squad, like James Gunn, where Harley Quinn's fighting a bunch of shit and she just sees a bunch of like flowers and stuff, even though it's all blood splattering everywhere. Like, you know, like the hallway scene.
Yeah.
So in a similar sense, they would be like acting out a musical in their heads, but they'd actually be doing some chaotic shit.
Okay.
And that's why it's a musical, because they're gonna be doing fucked up shit, but you're gonna see like their perspective versus a real perspective thing. And so like, and I'm like, that makes sense, because I guess you can, if it's done enough times, you can classify it as a musical because of how many songs or whatever is like happening in there, like how many musical acts are being shown.
Yeah.
Right. And that'd be a great way to take it too.
Sure. And then in the midst of all this, it was reported that the canceled Batman movie that was in works with Michael Keaton was reportedly going to be a Batman Beyond story.
Which is, dude, yo, I know, cause man, hold on, for I think like 2 years now, we're both looking at each other, and you're like, dude, we need a Batman Beyond, like we need this.
Well,
like,
I mean,
this would be sick. Like they could do it so well.
After they fumbled with Ben Affleck and everything.
Yeah.
And then there was reports that Michael Keaton was coming on, and those reports were confirmed when you see him on set,
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, if they're doing a old Michael Keaton Batman, what's stopping them from doing a Batman?
It's gotta be Batman Beyond. Like it makes the most sense.
It just makes the most, yeah.
And then just hearing that they can't, like they scrapped it, you're sitting there like, man.
They should,
like it was too good to be true.
Part of me is like, yo, they should just do an Elseworlds movie.
Yeah.
Of it. Just to like do it.
Just to do it.
'Cause I want to see that in live action.
Yeah. But I also wouldn't mind, like, if they're gonna build up this DCU, if we get Batman Beyond in like 10 years, like just to keep it going, like keep that like Batman agenda moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like it'll happen eventually, like at least hopefully in our lifetime. Like, you know, like I want to see that shit go. And the other thing is, like, James Gunn did say that his inspiration, because like he doesn't want to let down DC fans, but his inspiration was Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice. So when he's creating these characters and like this universe or whatever that he wants to, like the direction he wants to take this, he wants to do it in a way where it resembles those two series.
Yeah.
And they're so well done.
Yeah.
So like, and like Blue Beetle is still, like Blue Beetle didn't get dropped.
No.
So that's still releasing. So that's still gonna be part of what James Gunn has going forward.
No,
at least
I think that's gonna be the final installment of the DCEU.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're just gonna because they've already put so much money into.
They've already asked so many things,
and they're at the point that they're at. They might as well just release the movies to minimize damages, and then after that is when they.
Here's what I was thinking, because with Blue Beetle, it's essentially like they can make it in a way where it's its own standalone film, so they don't need to rewrite it.
But that's depending on how it's already written. If it's already written in the continuity of what we have prior.
Think about it. So the movies that were affected with this continuity stuff was the Flash movie, Aquaman, and Shazam. Those are the three ones that.
But we don't know how Blue Beetle is written.
We don't. But like, what I'm getting at is that because those three had switches in their, like, they had delays and they had switches in like their release dates. It's because a Flashpoint is, because they're using Flashpoint as like the crux of like how they're gonna change the DCU, right? Like that's how they're gonna, or that's what we assume they're gonna do to like change it into a whole different thing.
Well, that's what they were initially doing,
right? So it makes sense that like, because Blue Beetle comes after, because I think it's late 2023, it's gonna come out. It's not gonna affect anything, especially if it's a standalone film. They can still have that same character, because we haven't seen Blue Beetle yet. There's nothing tying him into the DCEU. So he can also just be part of the DCU, just start and going, you know?
They could literally just have something. It could just be a fucking poster of Henry Cavill's Superman. and it's gonna be instantly in the DCEU, right?
The DCEU or DCU?
DCEU, like
Why?
what do you mean?
Like, why is Blue Beetle part of DCEU?
Why is he not? Why was this movie created for it not to be a part of that?
Because they haven't axed it. They haven't done anything to it. Because had they wanted to change it,
they didn't axe any of the other. They didn't ask
but
the Flash, even though this motherfucker was kidnapping people.
But I mean, like, the changes they did do to the movie, it's like you can tell that they're trying to change it so it works in a way where it fits.
I don't think so. I genuinely think it's just gonna be the last.
Because like with Blue Beetle,
I don't think he's safe.
Like Aquaman, Flash, and I guess you could say Shazam 2 were in production before Blue Beetle were. They were projects they had lined up before Blue Beetle was even in the talks.
No, I don't think so. I think
Flash?
Blue Beetles was the Flash, yeah, for sure. But like you mentioned sequels.
Yeah, so like Aquaman 2 was the Lost Kingdom or something, right?
Yeah.
So that was greenlit as soon as Aquaman, or maybe even before Aquaman. And then I guess Shazam 2 would be like maybe that's where you would say that Blue Beetle could have been.
Blue Beetle was rumored a long time ago, bro. Like I swear it was like 2019. Yeah.
But even Black Adam was rumored so long. Like, The Rock got this role 15 years ago, and they put out the movie now.
Yeah, but
like come on. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see them having Blue Beetle as part of the DCU, and have it like just change a little things just so it fits. Right?
I don't think so. I think that's it's gonna be a complete clean slate, other than potentially the actors that.
So you're saying like that movie is just like a throwaway movie?
They're minimize losses.
Yeah, I guess. But then why would they cancel Batgirl? Why not just release Batgirl? Right.
That one, it might have just been so bad that it wasn't worth releasing. But at the same time, I'm telling you, they're so financially thin.
No, I know.
That they needed to vault a movie
something, and they chose Batgirl.
And they chose Batgirl so that they can write it off as tax for tax purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think. I think James Gunn's gonna go complete clean slate.
Yeah.
I think potentially you might have a few actors that he might keep. Like, you could say Margot Robbie, but who knows? You could say John Cena is Peacemaker. Who knows?
Like, what gets me though with Blue Beetle is just 'cause James Gunn had said that Young Justice is part of like the way he wants to shape this DCU, and that's where Blue Beetle comes in. He's part of Young Justice, and he's growing in Young Justice. So it's like I can see him just not touching that and just leaving it there, because it's something that he's gonna add on to and touch up on.
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think the first movie in his his slate is gonna be Blue Beetle.
I mean, yeah, that's sure.
It's not a good intro.
I guess so, but audience isn't thinking about it as his intro. Because again, like you said, it's DCEU. I'm just saying he's gonna work it in a way where he doesn't have to touch it.
No, the thing
he can let it sit, and he can do a sequel.
The thing is, what he's done, it has to be a clean slate. It has to be a reboot. They can't build off of.
He did hard reset the whole fucking universe.
Exactly. You can't.
Yeah. He got rid of so many things.
Everything.
Yeah. I mean, if you're getting rid of Henry Cavill, you got rid of everything. He's my precious.
Oh God. But yeah, no. I think he's going complete clean slate. I think you might have a few actors here and there that he might keep. Maybe like an actor like Hawkman, stays. Maybe an actor like
I hope so, man.
Like I said already, John Cena, Margot Robbie, potentially that they can say, 'cause they've at least
worked with James Gunn,
and they've done
characters.
They've done well.
Yeah.
And what I really like about what James Gunn's done already so far, even though he's like hard rebooted, et cetera, he's being pretty clear with the fans. We're not left to question
and just think. Yeah, that's true. And I do like that. Because I saw it on Twitter too, where people were saying, I think Zachary Levi came out.
Yeah.
And he was saying like part of the reason why James Gunn has been so active on Twitter, and he's been telling people like he doesn't want this stuff to be up in the air.
Yeah.
He wants people to know exactly what his plan is and what he's trying to do, because like he's getting a bunch of hate for stuff he shouldn't be getting hate for, and like people gotta like wait and like at least wait till his first project comes out.
Yeah.
Right. Wait till his roadmap comes out and see what he's got planned before you start hating on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm hating on him just for Henry Cavill, but like like I still feel like he's got a like good future for the DCU.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything makes sense why he's doing what he's doing. The only thing I don't like is Henry Cavill didn't get a second movie, and I'm chapped about that. Like he needs his Man of Steel too.
Yeah. He's also mentioned that the Green Lantern Corps will be an important role with the DCEU.
Yeah, and I'm happy they're doing that because they can do like a Guardians of Galaxy type of movie trilogy with Green Lantern, having each of his movies be like an adventure to a different planet, because he's basically like the protector of like a section of the galaxy or the universe or whatever, right? So and that's like that's essentially that can like you can keep going with that. You could like you don't have to stop with that because he's just gonna constantly be going to new planets, new threats, doing new things as long as it's him growing. And then even then you have Hal Jordan, you have Jon Stewart. What is it, like Guy Gardner? Like you have all these other people that take up the mantle as Green Lantern to push it forward.
Yeah.
Like it's like Green Lantern is something they need to actually go into. Like the Ryan Reynolds movie isn't enough.
That movie's great, bro. What are you talking about? It was the first DC movie ever. No. One thing that I like he acknowledged it.
Yeah.
But I'm sad that he's doing good regardless of whether or not, you like or people like the fact that he dropped Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I'm sad that, people are having hate towards him to the point where like he has to tweet and say like, we were aware that when we took the jobs as heads of DC Studios, there was a certain minority of people online that that could be, well, uproarious and unkind, to say it the least.
He's talking about you Snyder bots. If anyone's wondering who he's talking about Snyder bots, because for some reason it's such a small minority, but they're so loud.
They're loud as fuck.
They're constantly tweeting about Snyder, just sucking him off.
Yo, you too, bro.
No, never to that. No, nah, man.
Are you sure?
I'm a fan of what he did. But I'm not like, I can see the problems in his work. Yeah. I can, but like, I'm not gonna say he's God sent to play into his themes of Jesus. like you know what I'm saying? Like,
people ride.
It's wild.
This Rebel Moon movie, we don't really know anything about it other than like kind of what it's gonna be, and people are already riding the fuck out of this movie.
I'm not gonna lie though, Army of Dead, it was a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that was like the first Snyder project I'd seen besides the superhero shit, and it was kind of just like, okay, let me see if this guy's actually like a good director, besides what he's besides that trilogy that he's done, and besides like 300 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, in all of his movies, he'll always have like some mythos or like, I guess, religious or like themes or whatever.
The thematics. Yeah.
So like with Army of Dead, he had like Zeus. He was playing off of Zeus.
Yeah.
And it's about this whole alien race and whatever. But then he did a spin-off series of Army of Thieves, or it's not a series, it's a movie, which it's literally a side movie of this one particular character in Army of the Dead, and it's about what he was doing before then, and that was nice too. So it's kind of like he can make these lighthearted, fun, like energetic movies, but he just chose like that tone for the superhero movies. He just chose that, and same with the 300. Like he just chose those darker tones. So like, and I kind of like, personally, I like seeing his versatility. So like, I want to see what Rebel Moon's all about.
You could say though that like a lot of Warner Brothers issues right now, a lot of their financial problems stems from those movies.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
But again, like, I think it's one of those things, like, looking back, you can appreciate it more for being how dark it was. It wasn't the right time for it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, it was too early, like, for him to be doing a darker tone of those things. Because Marvel had it, like, we're always saying MCU is generic now.
I don't
right?
think it's
the template is generic.
Yeah.
Where like people are so tired of MCU. Like you can it's a fatigue. Like superhero fatigue is like a really big thing now.
Yeah.
Because they've had like 40 movies and whatever.
Yeah.
So like when they dropped Man of Steel, when they did Batman vs Superman, they only had I think like 13 to 15 movies out at the time. Now they have like 40, 50.
Yeah.
Like projects overall. So it's kind of just like if they had waited a little bit longer and then dropped it, people would have enjoyed it more. Because then they would have sat there like.
I don't think so. I think
I'm happy it went a little bit darker. I'm happy the tones are different. I'm happy it's not.
I don't
MCU.
think so. And the reason why, because we saw how to execute a dark movie this year properly.
With the Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
It goes down to directing style. It goes down to thematics. It goes down to the way that you want your characterizations to go, and none of them were the right choices.
Yeah, I mean, had they also waited, they would have had projects coming out properly, not like rushing Justice League stuff, and that plays a big part into why he did it the way he did.
Well,
right? Because the studio was kind of like
his decision to make the second movie be a Batman v Superman movie, and not only it be a Batman v Superman movie to end it with Doomsday and then Wonder Woman pulling up.
Yeah.
When you consider the fact that you have the Trinity on screen, and that movie does not do $1 billion, is crazy.
I guess.
And,
I mean, and to be fair, it's you don't know that Wonder Woman's there. You don't know that Doomsday is there.
And I'm just gonna do a quick, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think it made barely close to 100 mil. That's nothing.
The movie?
Yeah.
No, I think it made more.
No. I remember doing the math when we talked about it. I actually crunched the numbers.
Yeah.
It did not make much.
Oh, damn. I mean...
And I just had a higher end of the number.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
It was a lot lower when I crunched the numbers. But...
I trust you with it, but what I'm saying is it was the studio that told him to play catch-up. He wasn't the one that was like, let's play catch-up, because like he's getting paid to direct these movies regardless.
Yeah.
Right? It's the studio who's like, okay, we need to catch up to Avengers 2. You have 5 movies, do it. Right? So they gave him the template. He did it the best way he could, which is why he did Batman vs Superman next. And then they asked him for Justice League when like it's their fault for rushing in the first place. Right? So like you can say Snyder's like he's partly to blame just because his style wasn't something that audience received well. But then it's also the studio who was kind of like...
Yeah, I'm not saying it's just his fault. I understand that it's a two-way street.
It's kind of crazy how big of a hole they dug themselves.
Yeah.
From trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just... It was also Suicide Squad. Like, it was also like the fact they wanted that to be like Deadpool 2. Like, it was just that whole era of like... And post Batman vs Superman.
Yeah. Of
those like 3 years where they were just trying to figure out what works and they didn't know how to do it right. That's really what fucked them over, and that's why Batgirl got canceled and everything.
It got vaulted, not canceled.
I mean, sure, like it's.
But
let's see if it sees the light.
To be fair, there were screenings that happened for the Batgirl, and
they didn't.
It wasn't received well.
No, that's true.
For them to vault it.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Even Michael Keaton, bro, I swear if you ask him about Batgirl, he doesn't even fucking remember the fact that it happened. Like, come on, that goes to show the quality of the film and the filmmaking that went into it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, whatever. But anyways, so going forward.
For DCEU. We have James Gunn.
Like, what do you think?
I think we're going to go 2023 with the slate that we have.
Yeah.
I think 2020 we're going to one thing that we should say, we're filming this on the 30th of December, or 31st. And
Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year's. He's gonna release an initial slate for what he has sometime next month. Yeah. So January.
Yeah.
I think that slate will start the movies. Release like the first movie to release will be in
2025,
maybe 2025, but 2026 for sure. I think we're gonna go
for sure. It has to be 2026.
I think we're gonna go a solid run with no DC.
I can see us
other than Matt Reeves, Joker.
I can see us doing a full 2024 year without any DCEU.
Yeah.
And just because I think Joker 2 is supposed to come out then in 2024.
I think so.
Because 2023 is like we have those 4 movies, right? We have Blue Beetle, Shazam 2, Aquaman, and The Flash. That's 4 DC movies, DCEU movies, right? So then I can definitely see us going a year without anything. And then I think Matt Reeves, his Batman is supposed to come out in 2025.
It's probably going to be, it's most likely going to be 2025.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a solid... the DC like run that will happen will be solid. Just Matt Reeves, Joker.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I can see that.
Basically.
Cause then another thing with
all
that
the
is,
light and funding and everything will go to those.
and they're gonna get, hopefully they're gonna have good box office.
We
We can trust Matt Reeves. We don't. Joker 2 is kind of like up in the air. Hopefully it's good, but we know Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, like, they're the type that they just wanted to do the one and done and step away from like this thing. But then I guess he got an idea for the second movie, so
sure.
It's like it's in good hands.
Yeah.
It's in good hands, but with the musical and stuff, we'll see where it goes.
We'll see, of course.
But I think
what you're
saying is solid.
I think we could even go until we can even push it to 2027 is when we get the first movie.
That's rough. I think the way I see it is 2025 to 2026 for sure. We have a movie, because 2025.
The only reason I say that is because if by 2025 Batman 2 releases, you then have,
I can see them doing,
they can instantly, or not instantly but pretty close, start production for the third movie.
Yeah.
Have the third movie done and released by 2027 or 2028.
Yeah.
And by that time you'll be kind of weaving out of the Matt Reeves stuff.
Yeah. And then
you can have the DCEU like
I can see that too. But the way I picture it happening is like they have that,
because then you can also have the J.J. Abrams Superman movie come out in between now and then too, and it not really
let's include that.
Affect or confuse audiences.
Yeah,
right.
Let's include that, because we'll have a Joker movie, a Batman movie, and a Superman movie.
Yeah.
Within the next from 2024, 2025, and 2026.
Sure.
Right, but I can see like whenever they do their whatever year they end up releasing the Batman.
Yeah.
I can see them having another movie release that same year to just start their DCU, because they're gonna start doing. They're gonna have to, like, again, they have to build up the universe, and they need to make sure they spend the time doing it.
Yeah.
And not rushing it, like they. I mean, assuming they learned from history.
Yeah.
Right. you want, so like I can see them start doing standalone films, just to like start weaving it in. So by the time the Reeves universe is done, we can start getting like an Avengers type of thing going.
Yeah, the only reason I say that they start it like after, kind of on the ending point of the Batman trilogy, or however long. Who knows? Maybe he wants to fucking do it for 6, 7.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? But I'm just assuming trilogy. The only reason I say that is because you do have a factor of fans getting confused.
That's true, but that's if they use Batman.
Yeah. We know that he is.
No, but I mean,
it's confirmed.
As long as they're doing standalone films while the Matt Reeves universe is going, there's no confusion.
But now you have. But imagine this: you have the Batman come out, the very next year you have whatever Batman movie come out that's connected to the DCU.
But who are they gonna do? Who are they having for that Batman movie?
We don't know yet.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I mean.
He's
so
gonna do a Batman movie.
But if they're doing
it's not like he's not gonna do a Batman movie.
But if they're doing their standalone films, the Batman can be the last one they touch, right? They can do Superman first, then they can, if they want to go into Green Lantern, do Green Lantern, Green Arrow, or whatever. Like whatever, he can go into other standalone films that he needs to.
Yeah.
Because also just the fact that we've had a lot of, I guess the Batman's been on screen a lot, like over the years.
Yeah.
We can go a little bit without having the Batman, and especially. It's not until they start tying in their stories that it even matters, because we already have the Reeves universe.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like if they're doing the standalone thing, and then once the Reeves universe is done, they start adding in Batman or whatever they want to do, like in their way, they can do that.
Hey man, right? Matt Reeves, fuck it, dude. Just go for 8 movies.
Because like I'm okay with having them have Matt Reeves finish his trilogy.
Yeah.
Have Robert Pattinson by the end of it be like a full-fledged Batman or whatever.
Yeah.
And then have that be the character they bring into the DCU post the Matt Reeves trilogy. Because at least that's untouched. You saw his growth. He's like, you saw whatever the 3 trilogies, wherever it takes him.
Yeah.
And then just have either him or even do like an alternate universe thing of the same actor, and then maybe not really have it like that exact Batman if they really wanted to. But like I'm hoping that he's got this down and it's not some DCEU shit. You know what I mean? Because like again, that's more confusion and stuff for general audience and like
I don't think Robert Pattinson would want to do a connected universe.
Yeah, especially without Reeves too.
Unless Reeves is
there.
If Reeves is there, he'll be like, "Bah, fuck it, dude."
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens after their trilogy, because like again, they were planning to do just the one movie, and then they got greenlit for a trilogy, right?
No, I think they were already they were always meant to do a trilogy. I believe.
Really?
I believe.
I think it was because it was well received. I
believe Robert Pattinson's contract had 3 movies.
Are you okay? Because from what I heard was after Twilight, Robert Pattinson didn't want to do franchises anymore.
But then he did his whole character arc.
He did do his character arc.
He did his character arc, and he came back.
Yeah.
And when he signed, I believe when he signed the contract, it was signed for 3 movies. Okay. I could be wrong, but I remember hearing reports that was the case.
Yeah, I remember hearing rumors and stuff, but like it's like until it's confirmed, you're like,
we're not gonna. His contract's not gonna be confirmed.
Yeah, but it's always just rumors. But like, at least we know.
When you hear usually when you hear contractual
stuff, it's usually rumors.
It's usually correct.
That's true too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Zachary Levi, mentioned him. He's not playing Shazam anymore, right?
Yeah, probably.
And like again, like you could say it's the celebrity trying to save face or whatever, but the fact that none of them are really coming out and having hate for James Gunn, it's like
only Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher not even included, bro. But like that's what I mean. Like Ray Fisher came out and was like, "Yo, fuck Warner Bros." and said all that, right? Because like he actually had like if people had a bad experience, they're gonna say it, right? Like Ben Affleck saying it with Joss Whedon and stuff, right?
Of course.
But it's like, you know, if they had these conversations with James Gunn and they're like, you know what, like I'm happy for the DCU and like where it's going. He told us what he's trying to do. Yeah. And like maybe we'll be there later. Yeah. And they're happy about it. Like we should be happy about it too.
Of course.
Right. So like it's tough seeing like all these people just shitting on James Gunn. It's like, dude, you guys really need to relax.
You were shitting on James.
No, but
yo, you storied it. Motherfucker was tweeting it.
But
I had to DM you.
Go back and look at it.
I had to DM you. No, you had to post another one after I talked to you and said, "Yo, here's what."
Go back.
No, B. Nah, yeah, I told you to take it back, and then you took it back.
I didn't take it back because, again, like I said, the only thing I hate that James Gunn did, I had to clarify for you. Because I had multiple people reply to me. I had to clarify because I'm like, yo, I'm not hating on James Gunn. I just hate that Henry Cavill never got his second movie. I don't care that he's rebooting. He can get rid of anyone he wants, whatever.
Yo, you said fuck James Gunn. If that's not hating.
But again, like I said, I hate him for not giving Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2. And that's like, and I'm gonna die on that hill, bro. Like my boy Cavill he deserved another movie. I don't care. He deserved another movie, bro.
And Jacek said basically the same thing. He's disappointed about Henry Cavill, but he's also optimistic about the new plan. Yeah. Because of Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice.
Yeah, like if you guys want to prep for the DCU, you watch Young Justice and watch Justice League Unlimited. Those are great animated series. Like, so you actually get a feel for all those characters. And because like Young Justice is obviously about like
what I would say though,
Robin, Nightwing, and like the younger generation of the original Justice League. So you kind of get to see like you understand where the Easter eggs are for these movies, like where the mantle is being passed down.
What I would say though is he said that he's using those as inspiration. Yeah. I wouldn't say that watch them to prep, but watch them maybe to see what he's using to inspire.
That's what I mean.
Because the thing is, like, just because he says he's inspired by them doesn't mean that we're gonna get a direct Justice League Unlimited.
Of course not. It's not gonna be the direct thing. I mean, again, like nobody ever adapts things like exactly the same like that.
No, of course, right? but so the thing
is,
way I'm
like when prep is because you know that the characters will be the characters.
No, but
like you know their you'll get to know their personality. Sure. You'll get to know their skill set. Sure. So in that sense, when you see him on the big screen, you'll already kind of know what that character is like when they're when they're in those series.
But when you say prep, it's like when I told you to read like The Long Halloween for Before the Batman, or you know what I mean? Like,
because I mean I guess even then it's still the same thing because I'm comparing it to the comic and how comic accurate he was. So even this, you're gonna compare it to those characters. just to see, because like it's the same thing.
No, but what I'm saying is it's two different cases in a type of way.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
one's
an animated series.
No, but he could say that he's using those as inspiration and end up doing a different comic book or something.
Yeah, that's fair, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but in the case that like I'd said, prepare, read Long Halloween. That one was a direct.
Yeah, but again, he was also inspired because he was.
But when
he was heavily inspired by 3 different comic books.
But
so
when you actually watch the movie and you read those, you can see the direct inspirations, the direct connections 100%. To those comic books, right? But what I'm trying to say is, since we don't
have that.
Exactly, because we don't know for sure yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a lot of shake-up out there over there in DC land. I'm
not gonna lie though, I'm more hopeful for the DCU than I am for MCU.
But you've always been more hopeful for the DCU.
I always have, and even like when it's been like in the gutters, I'm obviously I like the DC more, but like with Marvel's MCU's recent track run, it's kind of like it's essentially what DC's track run was. During that like fucking 3 movie like shithole, you know what I'm saying? Like
Quantumania coming soon.
Like yeah, I don't know, man. It's so like that's what it feels like. Like what we're going through the MCU, it's like they're spreading themselves too thin. With like they merged with Disney. Maybe they're overworking their like VFX guys or whatever.
They're already with Disney.
Huh?
They're already with Disney.
Since when?
Like
before phase
I believe that they are
during Infinity Saga.
Yeah, I believe they're already with Disney.
I don't think so.
I believe they were. I believe Marvel Studios was always owned by Disney.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No, because I remember specifically after Infinity Saga, is when their roadmap became expansive as fuck. They included like they had like I think like 6 titles in 1 year at one point. Because even for like MCU, they were only doing like maybe like 3 titles a year or something. Like they weren't doing as many titles because they couldn't handle it.
But what titles are you? Because the only mergers I remember was like 20th Century, like Fox. Like
Endgame came out 2018, right?
Sure.
So it's been 4 years.
But But Endgame came out under Disney.
Yeah. So but look what I'm saying. So like they could have done their merger around that time.
No.
Why?
It was I believe it was always Disney.
Let me search it up. I mean, they have had it on Disney Plus for a long time, but like it's been so long. So because isn't that why we also got the 3rd Spider-Man movie though?
No Way Home.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Didn't they? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they buy the rights to Spider-Man now?
No.
No, because aren't they coming out with Spider-Man 4?
It's still it'll still be an agreement between Sony and Disney.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that's good too.
Yeah.
That's not like I don't know, man.
In August of 2009, Disney bought Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion.
2009?
Yeah.
So they bought that shit after Iron Man.
Yep.
So they've been.
I told you they've been.
So then why are they coming out with so many more projects post Infinity War?
Because they got rights
Infinity Saga.
Because they got rights to
everything.
Like basically all their superheroes that they sold away.
Oh, you know what it was? They bought the rights from Fox.
I just said that, bro.
You know, but you said rights to like all of the superheroes. But like cause I remember.
No, I said Fox too.
Did you? Oh shit! No, I didn't hear that.
Guys,
I didn't hear that. My bad. Cause I'm sitting there like, cause I remember them.
Guys, come on.
I remember them buying the rights to something or like a merger with something. Cause I'm like, why are they expanding so hard now? And why is it shit quality now? Right,
guys.
Like, I thought it was just Disney like washing it. Like
no,
that's crazy. Okay, y'all got MCU got no excuses now. Cause in my head I'm like, yo, they merged with Disney. Disney didn't really know what to do with it, and they've been shitting. The writing sucks for some reason. You know, so I don't know. Because we've had this whole year has been like shit writing for Marvel.
Yeah, I mean we'll see though. We'll see what comes next. We'll see what happens with Ant-Man Quantumania. Review will be up whenever that movie comes out. I believe it's coming out. Coming out soon.
When did they delay it till? it's gonna be first quarter for sure.
Yeah. Whatever.
Deadpool 3 is gonna have Hugh Jackman come back.
Yeah.
So that's either like, it's and you want obviously you want to see Hugh Jackman on the screen, but like again, I don't know if I got faith in this. And like it's crazy. Like and like this is the one time you can actually say like it makes more sense to have more faith in the DCU than the MCU right now.
I think the reason I have faith in the DCU is one, I know James Gunn
and Matt Reeves putting in work and Todd Phillips putting in work.
I mean DC Studio, like
okay,
not
like just their universe.
Just their universe is because James Gunn, for one, he's being transparent as fuck.
Yeah.
Two, we know that he can make us care about characters that we wouldn't care about.
That's true.
And he has a track record already of putting out good comic book content.
Yep.
So I have faith in his plan.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's just James Gunn, right?
Yeah.
We should note that Peter Safran is also a part of this.
Yeah.
He also has his input. And then any time that they have to do anything, even though that they probably have ultimate rule, they do have to report to David Zaslav.
Yeah.
So
it's in good hands.
It's in good hands.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
On paper.
On paper.
Yeah.
For now.
Now it's just about whether they execute it the right way.
Yeah, it's now how.
Because that's and I guess that's the same state as MCU. Because like you see the roadmap, you know they're in good hands, and you're looking at it, and you're like, okay, this all makes sense. Like these solo movies, these TV series, and then their execution is like piss poor.
Yeah.
Right. Like Moon Knight was solid. I'll agree. If Moon Knight was fucking sick. Like you could say Moon Knight was like their Batman, if you want, for Phase 5 or whatever they're at now. Right, because that's easily the best project they've put out, I think, since Infinity Saga. And like, yeah.
Spooderman.
Come on.
Spooderman, bro.
Come on, bro.
Come on. Andrew Garfield on screen. Tobey Maguire on screen. What do you mean? What are you talking about right now, bro? Didn't you rate Black Adam really high?
Don't worry about it.
So I don't want to hear it.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But I think we covered it pretty well. There is a lot of hope moving forward. Henry Cavill's done. Goodbye.
Hope you guys like this talk. Hope you learn more, and maybe have your own opinions about, where the stuff's going with both Marvel and DC.
Yeah, if you guys weren't aware of any of the things, hopefully we covered some of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasonings for why everything happened, and like when you follow it, you understand, which kind of like heals the wound a little bit. When you see a project and you're like, why didn't it live up to what it should have? I guess
the only person here that needed his wounds healed was Oder.
Oder.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that these Snyder bots dispel and disappear. That's my hope, man. I hate opening up Twitter and somehow
just always seeing the shit.
Some way it's on my feed.
Yeah, I think it's because I keep sending you shit and we just laugh at it.
Yeah, why?
I think it's because of that.
Why'd you been fucking up my feed on IG,
it is what it is,
on Instagram and Twitter, bro. Man's fucked up my feed in 2 places.
Yeah, I don't know. It shows up on my feed too, and I'm sitting there like,
you send it and you fuck up mine.
Yeah, it's something worth talking.
Like, yo, fucking here, share my pain.
Yo, I feel like we can make a whole podcast just laughing at these tweets, bro.
If we have that's a filler episode idea right there.
Yeah.
We'll fucking compile all these Slider bot tweets and just
laugh at it.
Laugh at it. I think that's all that we have today. It was a good filler episode, I think, particularly if you guys are invested in movies and comic book movies.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are here just for the anime stuff, like,
we apologize.
We'll double down on it next week. Don't worry.
Next week is gonna be a lot. The whole Shonen Jump weekly is back. We're probably gonna we have the chapters that we had this week, such as Chainsaw Man chapter that will follow into next week's episode. And so then there might be two Chainsaw Man chapters that we cover next week.
Yeah.
Right.
I think One Piece is on break next week or something.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
So we're getting double One Piece chapter 2.
No. The difference is that Chainsaw Man didn't go on break because of the holidays, while One Piece did go on break.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with One Piece, so like the main reason we didn't want to review that is because where we normally get our scans, because we get fan translations.
Yeah,
they're not as accurate, and we don't want to be giving you guys like a lot of false
it
information.
was a low quality issue, right? And we wanted to make sure that when we read it, it's at least high quality, and that when we do present it and we talk about it and we discuss that it'll be more accurate to what the officials will be.
Exactly.
So
because like I already had shit going off the dome.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, I was ready to hop into it, but like I'm okay. Like I'm happy because we can shelve it, and
yeah,
I know Jochik really wanted to be a part of it.
Exactly. So it'll be nice. And next week, you guys will be hearing us talking about the finales of Bleach and Chainsaw Man anime seasons. And next month we're gonna have a lot. Not a lot.
Dude, is it Vinland Saga?
Vinland Saga.
See, yo, that's on the 4th, I think.
Yeah.
So that's like on the Wednesday.
We're gonna be adding Vinland Saga season 2.
I am pumped,
and I'm so excited for this arc because I loved reading this arc.
It was so sick.
So good.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's all that we have for you guys. Thank you guys. Oh, go down there. I always forget this. Why the fuck do I forget this?
Nah, you're the guy.
Go down there.
You're the guy.
Go down there. Comment. Let us know what you guys think about the state of the DCEU. Let us know how you guys are feeling about it. Let us know how you guys see it moving in the future. If you guys think that we are thinking on track.
Whether you think Blue Beetle will be part of the DCU or the last thing of the DCEU.
Sure. Yeah.
Whether you like or hate the Henry Cavill stuff.
Yeah.
Whether you're happy with what James Gunn's doing.
Mm-hmm.
The Aquaman recast.
Yeah.
And then
all of it, everything that we talked about. Just let us know how you guys are feeling, because it'll be interesting to see what other people think as well.
Yeah.
Go down there, like this shit, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and thank you guys for watching. Twitter and TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok.
It'll be at Saiyan Society. You guys should see it. You'll see our logo. If it's not our logo, you
ain't
follow
us.
something wrong.
It ain't us. Instagram coming soon.
Still. You know what? We've been busy over the holidays, so kind of been jam packed. But yeah.
yeah, for sure. Movie review. We delayed our 2022 to next week, so we'll film that and have that out early January. Look forward to that. And
hope you guys should, if you want to prep for the movie review, go and watch all the movies from 2022. I mean, all the notable movies.
Sure.
I think we've read about or watched about like 26 to 30 movies overall. Sure. And like we're still catching up on a little bit more, so we're trying to get it done.
Yeah.
And if there's anything notable that you like, any movies you think we should include in our review,
comment it.
Definitely comment it.
Yeah. That's all we have for you guys.
Cool.
Peace.
Peace.